Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons, make sure to subscribe. And we have a very interesting video today. Missile Duels Fair Play, they just posted this, and a very interesting things added to being riding missiles and AA systems. Okay, so let's get into it. They explain it over here in a very simplified way, and afterwards they actually explain it what is going on. So first of all, let's just simplify it. Do a simplification of what is going on, and then we explain what is actually going on. Okay, so what it means is that laser guided ammunition that is SACLOS basically, but being riding with laser, they're going to update those missiles to be able to have a more realistic guidance system. So what is happening right now? So right now in the game you can fire, for example, VIKHRs for as long as you can. You know, you can fire multiple, you can fire the 16 missiles basically almost at once and basically guide them all, right? What is going to happen now is that you will have a time frame that after the first missile that you can fire multiple missiles, and then after that time frame is passed, it's just some seconds, it's not a very long time one, the first missile will start to lose guidance. So every time you actually fire a missile, after that, it will basically reset to that first missile, to the last missile that you fired. That's pretty much what they are doing. What is actually happening right here, and now it kind of becomes a little bit more complicated, is that in real life, this is a very realistic thing, you have this thing happening. So just before it, of course, remember that, imagine this is a laser designator. As you see, it is very wide for the tank, but this is how it actually starts. You know, you see the little tank over here, and then the wide, basically, projector of IR frequency, right? If the missile is right here, for example, it's trying to go there. Here we have a certain frequency, which is the right frequency that the missile is receiving. But it is right here, and here it's a different frequency. With that, it knows that it's in the wrong place, and depending on the frequency, it can calculate where it needs to turn to actually go back to the right direction. This goes on and on. Doesn't matter where it is, it will always have a different frequency here, and with a different frequency, it knows that it's in the wrong place. It can calculate that it is in the wrong place and what it needs to do to get to the right place, and it does that with its fins and stuff afterwards to actually get to the middle of the track, of the middle of the IR projector here, and go to the tank. But there is a factor that not a lot of people know about, is that this wider parameter of IR projector actually changes during the flight time of the missile. Why is that? Well, there's two reasons. The first one is that it actually wants to get the missile in the right direction as soon as possible. And also, the second part is that it doesn't have, with this wider parameter, you know, just trying to get the missile in the narrow beam that a laser designator is, it actually loses a lot of basically frequency and energy with the IR projector in range, you know. So basically, it will not have the range to actually guide the missile that the missile actually has. So it changes this, actually narrowing down the laser projector to actually increase the range so that the missile actually maintains its frequency of IR guidance throughout the flight. Because if it doesn't, when it comes to like right here, you can see, for example, like this yellow color. When it comes out of it, basically the frequency is too different. It's a low frequency and stuff. Loses energy, and then the missile cannot guide itself anymore. So it narrows it down, focus the energy on one point, and then increasing the range. And obviously to be also a little bit more precise, right? Because it needs to get as fast as possible inside the missile. After that, I mean, it starts to narrow it down. Because if you're not, the wider like gap of IR projection over here will basically have these open spaces, and with that the missile can miss. So it needs to be as precise as possible when the missile, I mean, the thing is that all of these projector, for example, over here, it needs to be inside the movement of the tank or inside the body of the tank when it's closer to it. So it's narrowing down for that, for precision, and also to increase its power and get the right frequency throughout the flight. But doing this, if you fired a second missile, you will see that from the get-go, imagine that this missile is right here, it will be out of the frequency. What does this mean? It means that the missile will non-guide itself. It will be basically a non-guided missile. So it has to basically, each missile that it fires, it starts like this, and then it starts to narrow it down automatically until it hits the target. It's every single shot that you do, it will do these 3 steps. Every single shot, you know, not these steps, but it will eventually narrow it down and then hit the target. If you fired on a second missile, it would basically be non-guided. What they actually do is the quite opposite of that. It's actually resetting the missile. So what actually happens in real life, due to the fact of the narrowing down and you not be able to guide the second missile, is that when you fire the second missile, it will basically reset the first image. But if the first missile that you fired was not in the target already, it will lose its guidance. So here you have an example. You fired a missile and it goes into the white search over here. Starts to change the narrow part of the laser projector for precision and increasing the range of the good, frequency that the missile can actually use. It narrows down even more. It's almost hit the target. Then you fire a second missile. Then it resets for this missile itself. So it's now guiding this missile. But because this missile is too far, it actually loses the IR guidance, which makes the missile miss. Okay, that's pretty much what is going on. I hope it was clear enough. It is indeed a very complex subject, but it is very interesting that they're actually adding such a realistic system in War Thunder. For you to know, this will be added for some AA systems and for helicopters and aircraft. And in the game, you will have basically a timer, basically that you can fire missiles. If you fire these missiles inside this timer after the first one, all of them will be guided. If you fired outside this time frame, it will reset themselves, and all the missiles you fired before, they will lose guidance. Okay? This is pretty much what is happening. So, what aircraft will have these? What vehicles? K-50, 52, the Mi-28NM, the AH Mark 1, I think this is the British Apache, right? Su-25D, Su-39, the Orion Strike UAV, BMP-2M, the AS-Radar, ADATS, ZT-3HU, Stormer HVM, and the ADATS M113. So all of these vehicles that have missiles guided by being riding IR guidance will have this quote-unquote problem, but it is more realistic environment. This will make it so that you cannot actually overwhelm AA systems, for example, in the K-52 firing 16 missiles on them and then being able to fire only 2, for example, in the sense of the Roland, for example, and then you will just overwhelm the AA and destroy everything. With this, it's actually a realistic thing, and you need to wait for the missile to hit the target, or you will fire another one and you will lose the guidance system for the first one. So very interesting. And the second thing they are talking about it here, it's the distanced arming of the missile proximity fuse. Right now, what happens is that the proximity fuse is always on after you fire a missile on an AA system. But this will be changed when you lock a target. So if you fire the missile without a lock on an air target, it will automatically turn the proximity fuse on. But if you fire the missile and you have a target locked on, you will tell the missile basically when to turn the proximity fuse on. So basically you will be able to fire the missile and it will not self-destruct in a proximity fuse with the proximity fuse. It will wait until it's close to the target, then it will turn itself on with the proximity fuse, and then it will destroy the target. So making it that these missiles even are a little bit more, less effective than with these overwhelming tactics, right? If you have a lock on a helicopter, the missile will wait until it's closer to the target to actually turn the proximity fuse on and then destroy the target. But remember, you need to lock the target, okay? the vehicles that will receive it are here. VT1, Roland 2, Roland 3, it's the missiles actually, right? The 9M331, 9M311, 9M311M1, and the Panzer missile, the 95YA6. So very interesting and way more realistic, especially this thing. Very, very fun to have it. I mean, it's just a perfect explanation on how it works basically. And yeah, very, very cool. Hopefully I was simplifying this enough. It is really, really, hard sometimes to actually explain this type of thing, but hopefully it was clear enough, okay? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about these changes. Very realistic, and I think it will decrease a little bit of the effectiveness of these missiles especially, and increase on these ones. So very, very cool, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye.